Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years.
So get ready! I mean, get ready! Are you ready for some football?
You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. A weekly podcast about sports since 2011. With a focus on football.
All right, we're going to go cold open here because my iPad just died. So there goes all of our music, which isn't great. So let me pull up the cameras so you can see us. I was worried that was going to happen, Justin. 4% battery doesn't last long.
I feel like 4% was a lie. Like that was not
it's
4%.
100%. The battery indicators on, I mean, not just Apple devices.
No.
I feel like any technology device, and I'm not just an Apple homer. Trust me, I prefer PC to Mac. But I do have an iPhone and an iPad, but the battery indicators on those are god awful, especially when the batteries are older. They do not know what's coming. Not at all, not whatsoever. So apologies for that. I thought I had taken care of all the setup and was good to go. The iPad been down here charging for over a week or so, I thought. We had gone away. We didn't have a show last Easter Sunday because I had been away for most of the week prior and had turned everything off down here. Came back, turned everything on, plugged in that iPad, and realized I never actually turned the Mac on that it was connected to. So it wasn't charging for the last 2 weeks.
It was plugged in.
It was plugged in, but there was no energy, Justin. No electricity going that way. And, of course, now 4% battery was a lie, and we lost the intro music, which is disappointing because I do really like that intro with the voices of my daughters, Natalie and Haley. Yeah, we got that part, thankfully. And Natalie actually made the background music for the intro that we then mash up the football themes from the big 4, I guess 5, because I think, do I even have Prime Video in there?
So I love the intro, but it does make me feel old because...
Right, because Haley recorded that when she was like 3.
I was going to say, it's not what they sound like anymore.
No, not even a little bit. Actually, I got many years ago, before Haley even recorded this, I recorded Natalie and Haley saying I love you, and had the waveform created as a print for my wife, for Kelly, for I believe Mother's Day back in like 2018 or something like that, because Haley was really young. Getting her to say I love you, she must have been even younger. It might have been 2017 before she even turned 2, because it's not even a full I love you. It's not 3 words. It's just like love you or something like that.
Right.
But I mean, it meant something to Kelly and me, so it felt nice. And they're still hanging on the wall and they look great. But yeah, so there's always a hiccup. There's always something, Justin. We just can't avoid it.
If that's the hiccup, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good, right?
For sure. So, welcome back. Episode 437 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. And we are going back to our bread and butter, which is talking NFL. Yes, we need to talk football, even in April, with the beginning of baseball season upon us. The NFL draft just a few weeks away. We're not talking about that. NFL uniforms have... some changes have come up. We're not talking that. Hockey and basketball playoffs getting ready to start. The Flyers are in the thick of it.
So Capitals won today. The Bruins and
they're playing
now. They're tied 1-1 with the Blue Jackets.
Okay, so we need the Bruins to win that.
In regulation.
Correct.
Win in regulation.
Well, if the Bruins win that in regulation, it drops the Flyers' magic number to 1 point in the next 2 games.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
Which would be amazing.
Yeah, Yes, Bruins win in regulation. The tough part is I think the Bruins clinched their playoff spot last night. But obviously they've scored. It's 1-1 in the first, so plenty of time there. But a Bruins regulation win would be huge for the Flyers.
Yes, and the Flyers making the playoffs. It felt like a foregone conclusion early. I remember texting
Yeah.
the group chat.
Yes.
Flyers are on pace for a 100-win season. Then, like early mid-January through the Olympic break happened, and they just struggled mightily, fell out of the playoff race. But since they got back from the Olympic break,
Yes.
they've been probably a top 5 team in the NHL.
Yeah.
Which is a good time to be hitting your stride. I know they struggled the other night against the Red Wings. That was disappointing. They could be even a better spot right now if they even could have just gotten that one to overtime.
Right.
But they fell hard to Detroit. However, they responded in a big way, routing the Jets last night 7-1.
Well, that's the Penguins, who are in the second spot in the division right now, have the same number of wins as the Flyers. It's just they have more overtime losses than the Flyers, and so like that's where that like 4-point differential or something. Actually, it might have been 6. It
Yeah,
might have
I
been
think
a
it's
6
bigger.
I think it was a 6-point differential. That, but it's crazy because when I was looking at the standings. There's also some teams who have almost no overtime losses. Like they have like 4. They've either won their overtime games or they've lost in regulation, which is kind of wild because the Flyers aren't in that scenario. But anyway, yes, lots of hockey stuff going on. Man, it would be great to be talking about Flyers playoff hockey just in like a little bit, next week, just throwing that in somewhere.
Have not had the chance to do that since the summer of 2020. And honestly, I don't know if we got to do it then because of how delayed it would have been. It would have been happening during
in the fall.
Well, but we didn't have Bulldog Hour either because there was no Wilson football
we
season
couldn't have
yet.
those things.
So we may have talked a little Flyers hockey in August 2020 leading into the playoff tournament. Maybe I can't recall, but the Flyers were doing great for the 2019 to 2020 season, and then we know what happened.
And then they weren't. Right.
And then they looked good starting up in the bubble and then fell apart quickly. Didn't look great against Montreal, made it through, and then choked against the Islanders. And it's been a whole lot of nothing since then. So 6 years, hopefully they can end that streak of bad luck and poor play and make it back. And the city is calling for an orange out. I thought it was just for the last game on Tuesday, but I saw some people saying now it was for the whole week because they have their last 2 games back-to-back in Philadelphia, Monday and Tuesday, against 2 good teams, unfortunately, the Hurricanes and the Canadiens.
Hey.
You control your destiny.
Right.
You want to make the playoffs, you need to win. Right now, both games would get you in.
Right. You win your games, you're in.
Yeah. So...
and they're at home. You can't ask for more.
A game tomorrow in Philadelphia is to the dismay of my dad, who is traveling down for the Phillies game at 6:40.
Yes.
So 2 start times within a half an hour, running each other at the sports complex. My dad is not the one driving though, so it's a little bit easier. And they're leaving super early.
Hey, that's the way to do it though.
But my dad gets to see Christopher Sanchez
Hey, there
pitch,
you go.
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully the Phillies not suck as they have been playing sub 500 baseball.
Yes.
But we're not talking about that here this evening. We're not talking about the Flyers either. We are going back to our roots, talking about not only football, but NFL football. We didn't get to talk about, we did the roulette show 2 weeks ago. We didn't get to talk about, I mentioned, we didn't get to talk about NFL at all. And there was a whole bunch of topics, the draft, the uniforms, the referee stuff, all kinds of stuff, nothing. But then, Justin, just a few days after our last show, before I went down to Florida and got to see the Artemis launch,
Cool.
not like super close, but still got to see it.
And not why you went to Florida.
And was not
just,
why.
Yeah.
Although my wife said tonight that when Artemis 4 launches, she wants to be back down visiting her family on the west coast of Florida, the Gulf side, to be able to see the next launch that is actually sending people to land on the moon. I think that was a lot of confusion in the weeks leading up to Artemis 2 was people thought it was maybe landing on the moon because they kept saying going back to the moon. And like to me, and I understand this, to me, if you're saying I'm going to the moon, it means like Apollo, like you're going to land there like Apollo 11 and some thereafter. But no, it was just going back to the moon. We just hadn't been back in that area for a long time, 54 years or whatever it was. So Artemis 3, which is about a year and a half away.
Was the launch on a Wednesday?
Yeah, it was on April
I literally finished my book on the Apollo astronauts and the Apollo missions the day before.
Good timing.
Yes.
Well, good timing, us being in Florida for that launch
that was
for
amazing.
Artemis, because you couldn't see it up here.
Right.
We Kelly and I go outside all the time to watch launches from usually Wallops
Yeah.
down in Virginia. Sometimes the Florida ones are visible depending on what's happening and how high they're going. It's usually the Starlink stuff because
Yes.
it's not going as high.
Right.
But we got to see Artemis launch. It could have been better just because there was a tree in the way and there were clouds, unfortunately. But we still got to see it. And it was the brightest launch I've ever seen. And then actually like 18 or 36 hours later, we got up at 1:30 in the morning and watched another launch. It was
Oh,
the
yeah,
Amazon
yes,
version of
yes.
Starlink. Amazon was launching satellites for their, I guess, worldwide internet attempt or whatever they're doing. And we actually got to see booster separation for
Oh,
that
that's
one.
cool.
Now, it was small dots,
So
but it was pretty cool.
a couple years ago at the beach, we saw a launch from Wallops, and we go to the beach in Virginia, so we are not very far.
No, yeah, you'd be really close.
Maybe, like, and it's tough because I'm thinking about the way we drive. It's even a little further, because you don't drive in the straight line. But like, it's probably like 75 miles, maybe.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
like so not very far. And we got to see. You saw it go across the sky, and then you saw stage like the second stage, like propulsion,
Nice.
like so.
Yes.
It was really cool. It was a cool experience, and there were a lot of people on the beach watching for it. That was cool too.
I haven't heard.
I say a lot. It
announced-
wasn't like the beaches were packed, but like for like a random night
right,
out
more
on the beach,
than
there were a
you'd
lot
expect.
of people. Yes.
I haven't heard a number of visitors to the Cape Canaveral Kennedy Space Center and the surrounding area and beaches. I know they were expecting, I think, over 200,000. I believe they said the last shuttle launch got 500,000. I think Artemis 4 is going to push that number. I
Yes,
think it
I
could be
agree.
even higher. I think they could be over 500,000. And I joked with Kelly because Kelly was like, "We're going down. We're going to make sure we're down at my aunt and uncle's for Artemis 4, which is slated for, I believe, mid 2028. Does that sound right?
I think so.
I would not expect it to happen before 2029 or 2030 with the rate that this is going. Because remember, we were supposed to be on the moon in 2024.
Right.
So that tells you all you need to know about. Of course, there's a lot of excuses in there.
Right.
One of which we've already talked about. That would be COVID.
Right,
Had a
right.
lot to do with the delays. But I would think actual people going back to the moon will not happen until 2029 or 2030. However, Kelly said we want to be at my aunt and uncle's on the West Coast, be able to see Artemis the launch, and I was like, I want to be at Kennedy Space Center. She's like, you can deal with that. You can drive across the state of Florida to see that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to see. Anyways, the whole reason I went into that tangent was because right before I left for Florida, I saw on Twitter X, and I don't think I sent it to you. I told you we were
Okay.
going to talk quarterbacks
Yes.
a few days or a week ago. But I didn't tell you why. And this is why. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, Justin. I'm going to throw it up here right now. This was a tweet from some Vikings fan, and he was listing on the Tier Maker website, which we're going to be using here shortly, of where would Kyler Murray start? Would he start on your NFL team? Because Kyler Murray was released by the Cardinals and picked up by the Vikings. So he made a 4-tier list and used the team logos of would Kyler Murray start on your NFL team? He only had 4 squads as a no.
Okay.
Okay? They are the Bengals, Joe Burrow, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, the LA Rams, Matthew Stafford, and the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Those are the only 4 he's saying that there is not a chance that Kyler Murray would start over them. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's egregious whatsoever.
Right.
However, he starts to lose me as you get into these next tiers. And then the yes tier has 17 teams that he would like. It's a flat yes, as in there's no debate. Kyler Murray would start over these 17 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nuance in just some of the teams that I'm seeing there.
Well, so let's go through this.
Yeah.
So his next tier up is maybe Kyler Murray would start for them. He says the 49ers, Brock Purdy.
No.
I don't see it. The Seattle Seahawks with the defending Super Bowl champion and MVP quarterback, Sam Darnold.
No. And this is where Kyler Murray's ceiling may be, and by ceiling I mean like it might be individual plays for Kyler Murray. Not like games. Then that's part of the problem here. But on any individual play, Kyler Murray can give you a more spectacular play than either Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold.
Correct. But it's body of work and consistency.
Both those teams have been more successful in his division.
Right. Right.
In his division.
Now, and I do want to point out, this is not, I am not making fun of Kyler Murray.
No.
I'm attacking NFL fans as people that think like this.
Right.
And
We're
post like
attacking the
this.
take.
Yeah, this is a terrible take, and we're going to go into this, and then we're going to put ours out there.
Yeah.
And honestly, Justin, it's going to be a joint list because I thought doing two individually would take too long. So it's going to be a joint list. But first, so he says maybe over Purdy, maybe over Darnold. Here's one: maybe over Justin Herbert.
No.
Maybe over Dak Prescott.
No.
Maybe over Trevor Lawrence. To me, those are no's.
No. And you would have had I would have given Trevor Lawrence a maybe before this season.
I don't disagree with that because I feel like Trevor Lawrence has had maybe two good years.
I would have leaned no.
Right,
But like
correct.
it would have been within that realm
I'm with you.
Of maybe.
I'm with you. I'm
But like after
absolutely-
this year, absolutely not.
Right. So then he goes on, and this is probably, so now it's more than 51% chance
Right.
that Kyler Murray would start for these teams. And this is where it starts to really
No.
go off the rails. Bo Nix and the Broncos.
No.
Not a chance. These next two are hilarious to
Did
me.
Diana Rossini put out this list?
Jalen Hurts for the Eagles saying
Get out of here.
probably. Like
Get
as in
outta here.
like they're
I would be mad about the maybe.
right.
Like I'd be mad about the maybe.
The Detroit Lions
No.
with Jared Goff.
No.
Here.
And
This is even better. I should have said the next four.
right.
Honestly, five. This entire section is egregious.
Yeah.
They don't even belong in the maybe.
No.
Any of these teams. Any of them.
No.
So next is Drake May for the New England Patriots
Oh, who just went to the Super Bowl.
and was runner-up for MVP.
Right.
That Drake May.
You said this guy's a Vikings fan, right?
He is.
He's really talking himself into this.
Yeah, it has to be.
For JJ McCarthy 2.0
Jordan-
or 1.0. I don't know which
Yeah, how do
which
you
one to call
classify? Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers.
Nope.
Probably. Jaden Daniels, Washington Commanders. Now,
No.
he had a great rookie year and was beat up in his second year.
Right. Now
But like when you bring it all together, because it's not a 1 year thing.
Right.
Jaden Daniels is younger,
right.
and I'm not
there's
picking
no scenario.
Kyler Murray over
There's
him.
no scenario where it is. I would listen to a maybe on, and this is on Jordan Love and Jared Goff. Now, I don't believe. I don't believe for either of those. I could see how a fellow NFC North fan could put in the maybes, but there's not a chance.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
So maybe if I say there's not a chance, I shouldn't put him in the maybe. But like Jared Goff at times hasn't looked great, but like at times he's looked very good. And when has he not looked good? When they couldn't protect him. Guess what? Kyler Murray, who is very mobile, also is no good.
No.
Like in that situation.
Terrible pocket awareness,
And-
taking too many sacks.
And Jordan Love, I think is the answer in Green Bay. So like I don't. No, I guess that's no.
So-
I'm not. I'm
so
backing off of that.
we're-
Like I don't think that's there.
We're basically halfway through the league. That was 15 teams. Those all 15 should be no.
Correct.
And like I the only one I think you could put in maybe perhaps Washington, just because of how bad of a year Daniels had, but he was injured.
If you look at the whole body of 2 years,
right.
But like there's no nuance there at all.
But I personally
And-
wouldn't. Like
And,
if you
and what are you doing? Are you taking Kyler Murray's all of his years? Because he hasn't played like half the time.
Right. No, it's absurd notion. I could maybe get aboard with a maybe for Washington, but like if it's me, I'm picking Daniels over Murray
Every time.
every time. So 15 should be no's. Now we got 17 that this guy, 42 CYC, named Cam, a Vikings fan, on Twitter. This was on March 30th. So literally the day before I left for Florida, this popped up. He has 17 teams that he absolutely says Kyler Murray would start. And I believe this is based on like the quarterbacks from 2025. So no movement or anything. So here we go. These are the 17 teams that Kyler Murray says they'd start immediately. The Panthers.
No.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Again, you want to do it before this year? I would have said yes.
I would have said probably.
But
Or
not,
yes.
But not now.
But
because how many times this year did I send you the text, you and Adam? I'm so
Glad
glad
they didn't give up on
that they
Bryce
didn't
Young.
give up on Bryce Young, and like that's something more NFL teams need to do. They reset and they started rebuilding, but Bryce Young was not the problem there this year, and I was happy for him. And I'm not a Bryce Young fan, but like I was happy for him that like he didn't have a bad season in a bad organization, and they just throw away his career.
Look, I would be willing to listen to arguments that you could put the Panthers and Bryce Young in a probably.
Right.
I'd be willing to put it in a maybe.
But
I also understand the people that would say no.
Right. I don't think you're in a better position as the team with Kyler Murray as the quarterback than you are with Bryce Young. Because you got to take it all into account. Take it all into account, and you're going to pay him 5 times as much. Like, no.
So we're halfway through now, 16 teams. There is not a single one that we've said yes to yet.
Right.
So, I mean, and this next one, I'm going to go to the bottom, I think. No, you know what? I'll go across. The Steelers.
All right. I will give it to him on the point that Aaron Rodgers currently is an unknown.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. I don't know exactly. I'm going by just 2025.
But if you're going off of old man Rodgers or Kyler Murray,
the Steelers
I'm picking Rodgers.
are still picking Rodgers. So
And they're
this
better
is not a
with
yes.
Rodgers. They're better with Rodgers.
Right.
And I don't want to say that, but they're
They
better with Rodgers.
already did this thing with changing quarterbacks. They did the Russell Wilson thing. They did the Justin Fields thing. We've been there. They're not going after Kyler Murray. I mean, I know they can't. Like, he's already signed. It's fine. But no, so it's the Panthers are not a yes. The Steelers are not a yes. Guess what? The Giants are also not a yes.
No.
Not with Jackson Dart and bringing a new coaching staff.
Correct.
Would it have been interesting to have him added as a veteran backup? Sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think they're going away.
Or if they had signed him before last year. Like,
right. Which
that
they
would've been
did with
interesting.
which they did the Russell Wilson
You're right.
thing.
You're
That
right.
lasted all of what? 3 games.
Right.
3 or 4 games. So no.
Jackson Dart doesn't learn to stop getting concussions.
Yeah.
That could be a problem in a hurry
Yeah.
for him.
And spoiler, guess what? He's not going to change the way he plays. He says that his coach doesn't want him. His new coach doesn't want him to change the way he plays, and he is not going to. He said that on the Ross Tucker football podcast that he is not going to change the way he plays.
Which, hey, do it your way, but like best ability is availability, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Now, some of that's also tough because like the Giants were bad, and it still was better for them to be bad last year. So, but like with quarterback, that's interesting because you need that quarterback development. And the only way you develop as a quarterback is by playing.
Right.
So
You got to have that experience. It's huge. So this next one is interesting, and I think it's another one of those, depending on the time of year you're talking, is different. The New Orleans Saints, Tyler Shuck, summer 2025, yes, Kyler Murray is the starting quarterback. Halfway through the season, I don't know about that one. Drops down to a maybe, probably, or a maybe.
And again, if we look at it from like the holistic thing of in terms of contract and what that means, the Saints are better off with Tyler Shuck as their quarterback than they would be getting Kyler Murray.
At the end of the season and right now, I guess I'd be willing to entertain a maybe.
Right.
It's not a yes.
No.
Like, it's not a yes. The Raiders, okay, I think you have a legitimate possibility because they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza. He's going to be the number 1 pick. He's going to be their guy. Does he have to start, though, from day one? So, no, I think Kyler Murray I think this is the first yes from me.
Yeah.
Is he better than Fernando Mendoza? I have no idea. But I think competent teams are going to maybe allow your young quarterback to take some time to adjust and adapt. And I think Kyler Murray could absolutely start for the Raiders.
But the thing is, they just signed Kirk Cousins.
Well, again, and all this was before the Cousins stuff came in. So if we're going from right now and not when he posted this, they're probably not interested. And is he better than Kirk Cousins? I mean, Kirk Cousins was a better quarterback, 5 years ago. Is he right now? I don't know.
Right. I don't know that Kirk Cousins is better.
But when this list came out on March 30th, I would say the Raiders were a yes.
Yeah. I'll give him that.
Okay, this next one, I don't even think we need to spend time on, Justin. It's as ludicrous as the probably one was. He has the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the only thing I could think of is if the Mahomes ACL tear is coming into play,
Right.
saying he won't be ready, so he won't be the starter
Right.
at the beginning of the year. That's the only thing I can possibly fathom he would include them
I don't
on as a
know.
yes.
I think Mahomes on one good knee might still be better.
I wasn't sure which way you were going with that. I thought you were going to say, "Oh, it's a yes no matter what." I wasn't sure where you were, because despite your disappointment a few years ago in the Super Bowl, you already got your revenge, and
Right,
last year did
right.
not go well for them.
No.
But no, I mean, this is a Mahomes' health aside. This is a definitive no, as those other
Correct.
4 were. The Falcons. This one is interesting because at the time they had Penix and another quarterback we'll talking about shortly, Tua, on the roster. So were they going to also add Kyler Murray? No. But if you're taking it, is he better than Penix? Is he better than Cousins when this came out?
Right.
I don't see how you can say yes. I don't see how you could be like, he would absolutely start for the Falcons.
Right. I feel like Penix is a good, like, again, Kyler Murray, especially early on,
He's
had some
had-
flashes, but he hasn't been really good in a long time.
He's had, 5 seasons, 6 seasons? How long has he been in the league now?
A while.
To prove what he can and can't do. There's no way it's a yes. We could argue about whether it's a maybe or a probably. I probably lean towards maybe because it's a question mark. But we're still stuck at 1. Next is the Colts. Again, the Daniel Jones injury thing is an issue. Putting that aside, I don't think it's a yes. Anthony Richardson seems to be a bust. Daniel Jones was having a good year, but I feel like that was maybe more of an aberration. Not that I have anything against him or want to see him fail, but I wasn't buying into the Colts as a legitimate contender for those first 6 or 7 weeks. But again, I am not saying 100% yes, Kyler Murray would start for the Colts. I just can't do it. If Daniel Jones is fully healthy. If that caveat is put in there, much like the beginning of this coming
He
season
was
with the
drafted
Chiefs
in
and
2019.
so yeah, he's had plenty of time. I was thinking it was the COVID year,
No,
but
he's 28.
that was Tua. So yeah, he was a year before Tua. Yes,
He
so
will be
2019.
29 before the start of the season.
So no, so at best a maybe or a probably for the Colts, depending on how you want to frame it. But it's not a yes. And let's breeze through a few of these because we're already halfway through the show and we didn't start our ratings yet. So Texans, absolutely not a yes. Titans, absolutely not a yes because they have Cam Ward and a new coaching staff. There's zero chance that is an automatic upgrade. Obviously, it's a yes for the Vikings, apparently. I guess he's saying he's not a fan of McCarthy, I guess, or Carson Wentz, that Kyler Murray is a slam dunk upgrade over them. So maybe he's not a McCarthy stan. I don't know. But I don't know that I disagree on Vikings. Maybe Kyler Murray is a better option because I don't like J.J. McCarthy as a NFL quarterback. I thought it was insane that the Vikings were going to and then did take him in the first round of that draft. So I think that could be your 2 right there.
Yep.
So Raiders were 1, Vikings are 2. It is ridiculous, despite my disdain for and our dislike of Caleb Williams. He is not starting over him in Chicago.
Not a chance.
I'm sorry. Miami, I don't know what to say there because the Dolphins I could talk an entire episode about the Dolphins, and not in a good way. But they brought in Malik Willis. He's now been in the league for 4 years, I believe. 2 in Tennessee that didn't go well, 2 in Green Bay that got better, and then he looked pretty good. He's still pretty much untested. They gave him a bunch of money. They could have gotten Kyler Murray if they wanted to, and they chose not to.
Right.
So I want to say you could convince me maybe the maybe category, but it's not a yes.
Right.
Like if they could have got him if they wanted to, and they didn't.
Right.
They already made their choice. So I can't see it in Miami. Also, if we're looking at it from when they had Tua perspective, it's definitely not a yes there either.
Right.
Because as much as I'm disappointed with the way the 2 years went, there's nothing that tells me that Kyler Murray is an instant automatic upgrade, especially because just a few years ago, Tua was the number 1 rated passer in the NFL.
Right. Do you know how many Pro Bowls Kyler
Kyler
has made?
0, I'm guessing.
2.
He's made 2. Well, the Pro Bowl is a terrible.
I know,
so
I
is
know.
Tyler Huntley, right?
I know,
Isn't-
exactly. So like it is like, but here's the thing. He's a number 1 overall draft pick.
Right.
Number 1 overall draft pick to only have 2 when you're going to be 29 going into the season.
Yeah.
Tells you how it's gone so far.
He's
Not well.
also number 1 path pick for the Call of Duty League.
I was going to
so.
say, yes.
All right. Now we get to the Jets. Is Kyler Murray an automatic upgrade for the New York Jets?
I mean, I would want to think yes, but I feel like the Jets could somehow make it worse. Like,
Right.
I think he would have been better than what they got at quarterback this past year.
Right. Was it Justin Fields?
Right. And I thought Justin Fields was going to get it done in Pittsburgh, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, I've been
Chicago didn't really give him a shot the way
They didn't
I felt they
surround him.
needed to. Correct.
They didn't surround him with what they've surrounded Caleb Williams.
Correct.
With. And Caleb Williams is a better.
Yes.
Better.
But like I thought the Steelers would. The Steelers got. I felt like he didn't really get a good shot there because they got the Russell Wilson thing. Then at some point though, I've got to be like, well, maybe if all these teams aren't really giving Justin Fields like. And it did not go well with the Jets, but nothing went well for the Jets. They were awful.
To not completely blow up what Cam is trying to put down, I will give the Jets a yes. I
Yeah.
will say Kyler Murray would start for the Jets and give him a number 3. This next one, though, is hilarious to me because he lists the Cardinals, the team that just let him go.
Right.
And they are saying, we're good. We're going to roll with Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
So I don't really know how you can possibly put the Cardinals there when Brissett finished the year. So I feel like that one has to be an automatic no.
Right. 'Cause
You
the
know?
Cardinals just said no. Like,
Which
literally.
is kind of the same thing with the Dolphins. They could
Right,
have had him
right.
and they went with Willis. So no, we're stuck at 3. Buccaneers, no,
No.
he's not starting over
He's
Baker
not
Mayfield.
better than Baker Mayfield.
No, not at all. Cleveland Browns, I think you could possibly give this a 4th yes. Because what do they have?
Well, and he would be another one to add to that list of quarterbacks.
Right.
quarterbacks.
But, I mean, Shador is terrible as well. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. Dylan Gabriel didn't look great, but he hasn't had a ton of opportunities.
Deshaun Watson's going to get a shot to win
Who the
job
heck
this
knows
year.
with that? But so yeah, I would say if Kyler Murray was signed by the Browns, he would probably be the number 1 in the starter. So there you go. 4 teams get a yes. 28 are a no or a maybe. I don't know that you can even put any in a probably, which leads us to ranking them now. And based on that, you got to think Kyler Murray's got to be down at like 28, right? Like somewhere down in the low
Right.
20s. So, but let's figure it out, Justin. Let's figure it out. I'm going to pull up the tier maker. I edited one that's available to us, and we actually have all the quarterbacks in the NFL that we could rank. We are not going to do that, but we are going to do our best. And there's all the different quarterbacks that are available with their jerseys, and of course, this is based on 2025 roster, so Malik Willis is still there for the Packers and whatnot. But I edited the tiers to be 8. So the only one I'm going to say we're limited in number is best. We're only putting 1 in best.
Okay.
And we have to agree to disagree and be okay with it.
Okay.
So the way I look at it, Justin,
I think we agree, but I don't know.
all encompassing
Yeah.
with 2025 fresh in my memory, and despite the shortcomings, because he did not win the Super Bowl this year, right now, to me, the best quarterback is Josh Allen.
Okay.
That's mine.
Okay.
And I know, like, I would have normally gone Mahomes, like,
Yes.
easily.
That's who I would have
The
gone with. but-
injury thing
No, you're right.
is a problem because we're doing everything.
Okay.
I'm not, like, right now, it's hard for me to separate. That's a significant injury. And I know
No,
Tom Brady
no,
came back
right.
from it and looked good. And I expect Mahomes to be back at my number 1?
Right.
I
But-
definitely think it's a possibility.
Right now, I can agree. I can agree with Josh Allen.
Well, I
Yeah.
think there were 4 options for this one for me. Mahomes still hangs in there.
Yep.
But this last year's struggle, and honestly, the struggle in the Super Bowl the year before,
Yeah.
that's still in my memory.
When they were down 40-6 against the team they thought they were going to dog, apparently. by the
Yes. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. But again, that one is harder because he
one's hard.
hasn't been playing a lot.
way. Right. It would have been easier the year after the Super Bowl, or like right after the Super Bowl.
When he's healthy, I think he could be the best quarterback. But he's not winning games because their defense has been terrible, and he's been injured.
Right.
So a lot. But honestly, Lamar Jackson also this year I don't think was typical Lamar Jackson. So that left me with Allen and Mahomes.
I'm really intrigued to see how that works under new coaching there. But
yeah, I agree.
like,
I agree.
and I honestly don't know. I literally mean like intrigued. I am intrigued by that.
So you're
But
okay with
yes, I'm okay with Allen because yes, I don't think there is a team in the league that would not be happy to have Josh Allen be their quarterback. That's not to say that there aren't any fan groups, including the one I belong to part of, that won't at times vehemently like argue for their guy over Josh Allen. And that's okay. But like there isn't a team that would not be excited about having Josh Allen as their quarterback. Does that make sense? Like
Yes,
Like
right.
trying to account for both of those things. Like I think even the teams with good quarterbacks would be excited to have Josh Allen as their quarterback.
So I know a lot of people will look at Madden ratings and things like that. Josh Allen is the only 99 quarterback in the game with the updated ratings as of whenever they last updated that. I'm not sure when it was. There are 7 quarterbacks in the NFL that, according to Madden 2026, garner a 90 or higher.
Okay.
Just putting that out there. All right, we're going to move on to elite since we got our single best quarterback right now in Josh Allen. And I know there's dissenters out there and people that wouldn't agree, but this is our list. I think we can both agree because we both were teetering around him that Mahomes is in this category. Even with the issue with health right now, anyone that says that he's not at a minimum top 10 quarterback, but by and large a top 5 is just a hater.
Yeah.
I don't know how to now. If he has a major struggles this year, maybe you're starting to drop him.
Right.
Even if he struggles this year, I'm still not dropping him outside of great though.
Right.
Like he would have to be like
He could retire tomorrow and be a Hall of Famer.
right. So
Like,
that kind of tells
right.
you what you need to know. All right. And I would say, well, I'll let you pick someone else that you would want to argue is elite.
All right, I'll put Joe Burrow in there.
Okay, I don't disagree, so I'm going to find wherever his jersey is.
And I say this, and I believe you will understand what I'm saying. I want to see more. Like I want to see them compete for a Super Bowl again.
You're right.
That doesn't mean you have to make it, but like to make the playoffs and to make a run in the playoff, like they were exciting to watch. Then I would like to see that. Austin would love to see that.
Right.
But like I worry that he's going to be Carson Palmer.
I know. I'm right there with you. I really like Joe Burrow. I was whatever when he was coming out.
Like,
I
honestly,
didn't think he was the best,
and
but
I didn't mean this because like I don't wish this against the Bengals fans, but like I was kind of hoping not for it to get ugly and all that stuff, but like I would have been okay if Burrow tried to get out, like just to see what he would look like somewhere else. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So I'll throw out the next one. I'm gonna still throw out Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
I think
Yep.
he's teetering and could possibly go down a tier if he
It'll
he
be
struggles
interesting to
this
see
year.
what happens with the offense. But yes,
I still think like when someone says to you unprompted, like name your top 5 quarterbacks, I think Lamar Jackson's being mentioned as I do with everyone we have up there right now.
I agree.
Who would be your next that you would toss out as possibly being elite? Or you can say I'm done, and then we can discuss where we want to go. But those are the ones for sure that step up to me as being worthy of the elite moniker.
Yeah, I'm just looking through because just trying to think.
I'll be honest. I think I would be done with truly elite.
Right. I want to argue for Hurts. I feel like I could argue for Hurts, but I also can accept him being in the great category. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And
So secretly, I also brought this up because of the stuff that came out in the media,
Yes.
because of the Jalen Hurts stuff,
yeah.
because I wanted to see where we fell with Jalen Hurts.
Right.
I'm ready to call elite done.
That's fair. That's fair.
Which I think is only shocking and maybe non-Philadelphia related of people that want us to say Hurts as elite. Not ready to do that. But there is one that I think people would say is missing I don't agree with.
Okay.
It's Matt Stafford.
Okay.
It's not so much that I don't think he's very good. It's just I don't know that I would classify him as elite. There's just something that I'm hung up on, and I can't put my finger on it.
It's not the same. It's not the same, and I can understand where people would come and argue for Stafford over Hurts. For me, right now, and again, is this bias coming through too? Yes. I think they are at the same level. Different quarterbacks, but I would put them at the same level. So for me, if I was going to include one of them, I feel like including the other would make sense, whether that's at elite or whether that's at great. And at elite, that starts, like, I don't know. I do know. So I feel like the elite argument for Hurts comes from because I'm an Eagles fan. Does that make sense? And identifying it like that, I feel like I can comfortably put him in the great quarterback. I can comfortably put him in great. In elite, I would have to be arguing it, and I don't know that I could argue it to withstand the counter arguments. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So where I'm at here is Stafford to me is a fringe great elite guy.
If you talk to me after the Super Bowl last year,
no,
I mean immediately after, like
elite,
I'm putting him in the elite.
Yeah. So my opinion on Jalen Hurts has gone down significantly since the Super Bowl win a year plus ago. He to me right now is a fringe good to great guy. I have no problem putting him in great.
Yeah.
And I think he's borderline top 10. However, like you, when they won the Super Bowl, I was like, I feel like he's pushing top 5.
Right.
Like, I think he's getting closer to that.
Right. At that moment, you like, and again, a prisoner of the moment, I would have argued for him over Burrow. I would have argued for him over Jackson. In that moment, Mahomes is incredible. Like, and that Super Bowl was not a reflection simply of Mahomes. Like that was just a bad. That was one of those games where it was just going to be.
Yeah. Yep.
And Allen, we've established that that's a different thing there too. But like since then, this year, I don't know what it was weird. This year was weird, and I want to see, is it still weird or is it going to? Because there's been peaks and valleys in his career, and in the valley was still good. But what is it? So
2023 still sits there for me with the way that ended.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And then last year with all the stuff going on, and then with these recent reports of Jalen maybe is more to blame than we knew before. I'm not a fan of Nick Sirianni. I'm by and large been a fan of Jalen Hurts in the NFL as a pro, usually more defending him, not like being vocal defender because I'm not an Eagles guy, so it doesn't really matter. However, like the stuff that came out recently, I was just like you're taking it upon yourself to change things or do things against the not just coaching wishes but organizational wishes is tough for me to swallow, especially when. And I know we're only a year away from them winning the Super Bowl, but it's odd it feels like he got too comfortable or a little, maybe even like arrogant. And now, it didn't go great last year. How's it going to go this year? Because I'm going to need a new contract or I'm going to be shown the door. Right. So it'll be interesting to me to see what happens in 2026. Did the constant OC turnover hurt him? Probably. Who wouldn't it hurt? That's terrible for anybody. So I give him the benefit of the doubt there. But the stuff with the offense and A.J. Brown and the decisions on the field and what he's comfortable doing and what he's dictating doesn't help. It almost feels like he's trying to run the team. Yeah. To try to put himself above. I mean, he seems to have put himself above the OCs, which could be part of the problem with the rotation through all the OCs. So that that painted him in a different light for me. I still think the on-field results are very important, and that's been pretty good, including a Lombardi. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, he's not a top 10, 12 guy. I don't believe that.
Right.
But I'm very interested in what happens this fall.
Right. It'll be interesting because each time so far when they've had the down, they followed with a very high up.
Yes.
And if that happens again, it'll be interesting. But it'll also be interesting because then the coordinator may leave again.
Right.
Like,
yeah. How does it go?
It's tough. I did hear a thing. This was Schefter actually. That just this week was like, he's like, look, and he's kind of come on the like backing off of the Hurts stuff a little bit lately, just because he's like the other quarterbacks who signed right after Hurts, and I think it was Burrow and Herbert. I could be off on that, but he's like, why is no one talking about their extensions? He's like, and why they haven't signed their extension yet, and things like that. He's like, they're all in that group, and he's like, and of that group, Hurts has the most success.
Success, yeah.
Not to say that he's the best, but he has the most success of those quarterbacks. It's just one of those things that like I was like, yeah, that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think this year will go a long way to say like, well, yeah, you never know. You never know with NFL teams. You never know with the Eagles, especially.
Right.
But it'll be fascinating to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. So I kind of grouped in two, like I grabbed two this last time, just because we were kind of dancing around talking about them. And I do want to put out there, this is just general tiers. Like, I'm not saying Allen's 1, Mahomes 2, Burrow's 3.
Right.
Like, it's
We're
there's
placing
one
in a tier,
and then there's a grouping. So like
Right.
Hurts not necessarily 6, Mahomes not necessarily 2. However you want to put it, it's just tiers. All right. Do you want to propose anyone else for the great category?
let's see. I'm not putting Daniels there. I'm not putting Mayfield there. Man. Okay, I just talked about being prisoner of the moment. I don't think I'm putting Sam Darnold there. He's had 2 really good years back to back. I think if the Vikings postseason had gone differently 2 years ago, you could make a strong case for him in that great category. He looked so bad in that loss. So I have trouble with Darnold.
I'm going to say I think our biggest category is going to be good.
Right. And so here's one. And again, I don't. Okay. And I say this not trying to be a troll here or bring this up. Where do we put Dak?
Well, I think he's coming up.
Right.
So
I think you could argue for him to be great. I think I put him at good, even though his numbers are so good.
yeah, okay. So, well, here there was someone else that I wanted to throw up there.
Yeah. I've got a.
Okay, so my next one was Herbert.
Yeah, that's who I was going to go to too.
That's the next one that I would be considering in the great
that's
category.
fine.
And there are some dissenters out there for sure that would say, what has he really accomplished? I don't know. I think he's a top 10 guy. I just do. I think he has it. I think we're going to see him get even better under Harbaugh.
I'm not saying this again, not trying to troll here. Did the Dolphins pass on him? Did the Dolphins pass on Herbert? Like for Tua that year?
Yeah,
or
I
was
think
Tua
so.
later?
I think
don't
Tua
remember.
was. See, and now I forget if Miami picked 5 or 6.
Okay.
Because they went back to back, I believe. I'd have to.
No,
pull that
that's
up.
fine. I just didn't know. Like that's a tough one.
So, obviously Burrow was first. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tua went 5, Herbert went 6. So, yeah, I couldn't remember if it was that way or the other way. But so I think Herbert's a top 10 guy.
I would agree with that.
Honestly, to me, I think, well, I was going to throw out Prescott as one of my probably my last great, because I do again, he's one of those guys that I group in there right at the great to good. I probably put him. I probably would put him just behind Hurts.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jalen's got the team stuff, like Hurts blows him out of the water.
And this is, again, I'm not saying this to knock him out of it. This would be just a purely why I pick Hurts over Prescott in a head-to-head, is that in the biggest moments, not the regular season games, Prescott does great there. But in the biggest moments, Hurts has played his best. In the biggest moments,
Right.
Dak has not.
I don't disagree.
No. I'm just, like, that would be the thing that kind of puts him, because Prescott, if you look at all the regular season stuff, he's got great numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I would listen to people's takes on knocking him down to good, because at key times he and the team have fallen off. Okay, I got one for you. I'm throwing this out there. I'm not saying
for great.
I'm just saying it for the discussion, not because I believe it and not because I believe it right now.
Okay.
Is this how they are right now? Because where's Aaron Rodgers on this list?
No, this is right now.
Okay,
This
okay,
is like
okay.
entering 2026, like end of
Okay.
2025, entering 2020. This is not
Because then I'm comfortable. Like,
this is not an all-time list.
no. Okay, perfect. Okay, no problem.
No, this is not. This is for the 2026 season.
No. Okay.
Who are we taking? What are our
Then I don't have him in
expectations?
the great category.
Correct. The only one that I think people might really yell and scream that we haven't even brought up yet is Drake May.
Yeah.
And I also say that because I mentioned the Madden ratings.
Yeah.
Drake May is ranked above Mahomes, Prescott, and Herbert. Drake
Yeah.
May is 93 overall, behind only Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson.
I get that. And I'm not saying he won't be great. I'm saying right now, for me, I would put in Sam Darnold over Drake May. Right now. Now,
Well, do you want to stop here and say
I
these
do.
are the
I
best
do. I
eight
do want to stop
quarterbacks?
there because
Okay.
I am much more comfortable putting in this good group.
Okay. Well, then let's start here at the good group.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I have to put Darnold in there.
okay. Do you want to go? See, I say this is
right,
not
right,
this is not an in order thing, but I have a. This sounds insane because he just won the Super Bowl.
Right,
And
right.
look, Darnold's going to be in the good group.
No,
I
I
cannot.
understand.
Like entering last season, I would have been like he's in the average group.
Yes.
You
Yes.
just won a Super Bowl and looked good doing it. He overcame all the stuff from Minnesota the year before.
Right.
I can't be like you're an average quarterback. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm not ready to put him in the great category,
Fair.
but he's a good quarterback. However, the first one of this group that comes to mind to me because of the way things have been going, I think is Baker Mayfield.
Fair.
Honestly, we could probably run through this really quickly. Let's throw up a bunch of them.
Okay.
And if I start to grab someone that you're like, hold on, we need to talk about
Baker's
this.
got to go there. He's exciting. Man, he had a bad second half of the year. Not
did.
him.
He
The
did.
team. I shouldn't say him. I don't know it well enough to say. And look, I think in the end, I think Drake May has a shot to be in that great category and might be there by the end of the year. I just think he did a lot with a little, but like
Right.
when they played a good team, they got exposed. Let's see. I put Purdy there. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I grabbed everyone. All right, just like a first. Oh,
Yep.
oops, I didn't even know I could do that. Okay, so just at first blush, going through them. Oh, now I messed up my. Okay, there we go. All right, at first blush. Oh, you're not able to see them all. Well, I guess we can't go any farther over than the.
Yeah, well, I guess that puts a limit on how
I guess that limits the amount that I can show there. Let me see if I can bump it.
Yeah,
over a
so
little bit.
Mayfield definitely in the group. I think Darnold, after this past season, has earned his way into that group. Drake May, absolutely solidly in that group. Jared Goff, solidly in that group. Brock Purdy, annoys me, not him. Actually, you know where this is going.
Careful, his coach is now our
Right,
coach,
now,
Justin.
You know what? I'm starting to rethink Brock Purdy. I don't like the Niners, but but like Brock Purdy might be okay. Aaron Rodgers still got to put in that good because he gives you a chance no matter what, even though he's just a shell of himself. And then Jordan Love, absolutely.
So, is there anyone else that you think? Like, I think a lot of people are like, "How are you?" Oh, you know what? I was probably would put him up there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd put him as my last one in that group.
Okay,
I know we're not doing that
I'm
way.
gonna have to
but
change the size of this. Sorry, I wanted to make it as that people could see, but
right.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
change.
I'd put him in there, even though like, see, and well, Exhibit A is what they looked like without him.
Yeah,
Like-
that's true.
Like
Yeah.
they were bad without him.
Yep. All right, so I added Bo Nix. That was probably the last one.
Like I think they beat the Patriots with him.
I agree, and then there.
And then what's the
What
perception of Drake
happened?
May? Because Drake May had a great year, and everybody's like, they played no one. And then the first chance they had to actually play someone. Now, I say that. Houston, that they beat the doors off Houston. But not offensively. Like,
Yeah.
defensively, they beat the doors off Houston. But they did not look impressive against the Broncos, and the Broncos didn't have their quarterback.
Right, you're right. Is there anyone else? So I think Caleb Williams is the one that a lot of people would say we're missing. I need to see more. I
Right.
need to see more.
And you know what? I would, in that category of, I would hear arguments for, but I don't think it's there right now, is Trevor Lawrence. Like, based on this past season, I could see him going up there, but like, there's been a lot of ups and downs, and I think he could be there, and that's great for the Jags if he is by the end of this year, but I just, not 100%.
well, and I
sold
think
on that
a
yet.
lot of people may also say that about the guy I just
Yes.
pulled, which is C.J. Stroud.
Who, again, I think, honestly, at the end of the regular season, might have been in the good category, but they struggled in some games where they shouldn't have struggled, and how bad he looked against the Patriots, really. And I know one game is tough to place here, but when you're mincing between different quarterbacks, postseason performance especially is going to come into play.
Yeah. I'm gonna just start throwing everyone up
No,
here.
that's fine.
Because there are some people here that we're gonna.
I guess we got to put him as fringe starter because he's got picked.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess you if you see
Yeah.
something that you want to
No,
talk,
no, you're good.
throw it out. I'm just trying to make sure I get someone. I mean, I guess I got to put him up there too.
Where are you
Huh?
putting McCarthy? Yep.
Is there any who
Oh,
else?
shock. We got to put somewhere.
Oh, Shuck. I honestly, I'd probably put him up there for now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna pull this
Jaden
up.
Daniels, we got to place.
Oh yeah, we got to get him up there. He's an interesting one though. I just say like we don't have enough. I feel like we don't have enough.
I feel like average is fair because it was one excellent year and one not going to cut it year.
Yeah.
And again, that not going to cut it is not all on him. Some of it is injury, but some of it is the team just wasn't very good this year.
Right.
What's tough is the team went all in.
right.
The team went all in to win this past year, and it did not go well. So like that really kind of could be interesting how that affects them in the future.
So I think I'm over 32, but I'll pop this up here just to look at it. So we said we kind of came to an agreement that when all things are considered with, entering 2026, including injuries and things like that, we went with Josh Allen as the best quarterback out there. We had Mahomes, Burrow, and Jackson in the elite tier. Then we had a selective group of 4 at great, though I think other than Stafford, all 3 of the other ones in our great, we could hear arguments for being elite or being good, depending on what's happening when it comes to Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, and Dak Prescott. We had a big group. I mean, this makes sense, right? We're basically making a pyramid.
right.
And the biggest group is good and average, where you would also see probably the biggest amount of arguments. There are some people that probably would say Mayfield, Darnold, May, Goff, Purdy are great. There are some people that maybe say Love and Nix are average,
Right.
or Rodgers is average. I would certainly entertain arguments that Lawrence, Stroud, and Williams should be in the good tier.
Yeah.
The other ones are harder, like Shuck and Dart and Daniels and Ward. We just haven't seen enough yet.
Right.
So I think calling them average
This will
is
be interesting
respectable.
to revisit, and I'm glad we
Yeah.
have it in a graphic form because it'll make it easy to revisit. I'm not sure. I am pretty sure that your uncle will have some takes on Drake May.
Yeah, I'm sure he would probably.
I'd be interested on your dad's takes on Dak Prescott. I know I've talked to him about it. Like, we've
he
talked
would
about
he
it
would want
before.
him in good. I don't think he'd be happy.
I know. I
that
feel
I
like
have him in great.
Yeah.
He did not leave any comments online. Actually, I don't know if he texted me. Let me see. No, he hasn't texted me. Maybe he fell asleep. He says he does that a lot when he watches our show. So I'll pull it back up, the jerseys. So Stafford, Hurts, Herbert, and Prescott in great. Mayfield, Darnold, May, Goff, Purdy, Rodgers, Love, Nix, and good. Average, Lawrence, Stroud, Williams, Young, Shuck, Dart, Daniels, and Ward. Fringe starter, and this is why I'm above 32, because I have both Brissett and Murray in there from the Cardinals. I know Murray is now in Minnesota, but I guess I didn't include Kirk Cousins anywhere in here. I guess we could throw him up there, Justin.
Right. But we have Geno Smith in there,
we
too.
do.
Which
We
is-
have Geno
He
Smith.
was the Raiders quarterback.
Which
Cousins,
I guess I
maybe.
would probably say Cousins is
Right.
in that good backup at this point. I don't know that he's a fringe starter anymore. But yeah, Brissett, Murray, Penix, Willis, Jones, Tua, and Fields in fringe starter. I honestly almost put Tua up in average quarterback.
Yeah.
I considered doing that because, like I said, just a few years ago, he was statistically the best quarterback by metrics in the NFL.
And if you're going to include guys like Bryce Young and Shuck and Dart in there, I know like flashiness, Dart is there, but that's because he plays for the Giants. If he didn't play for the Giants, if he played for the Dolphins, people wouldn't think he's necessarily better than Tua. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
at this point, maybe by the end of this coming season, they will. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, and again, we're not ranking them in the
No,
tiers because it would look different than this. But this is where we would group them. So again, there could be definitely some fluctuations here. I very closely almost put Tua in the average camp, and maybe I will just because I want to see the Dolphins' colors up a little bit higher. This is our list; I can do what I want. Is there anything on here though that you don't agree with, Justin, or that you would want to argue for a change?
No, I feel like the ones that I felt strongly about, we discussed. You know what I mean? Like, and I think there are some fluctuations from year to year with some of these. So we shall see. I feel like when you look at the bottom there, McCarthy and Richardson, especially Richardson, I feel like was done a disservice by being drafted so high and rushed into service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
McCarthy, I feel like everyone could see that coming. They were a team that stole signs and handed the ball off every play. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I don't know what made people think he was going to be a great first round worthy quarterback. Right. I didn't see it at all. Mm-mm. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I threw up a few more of like the actual backup guys up there, like Mariota, Winston, Wilson, Wentz. Yeah, but I feel like that's pretty.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a pretty good tier ranking or list, Justin. I feel like we did a pretty good job to throw that together. I'll see if I can shrink it down so that everything pops on one screen. That should get it done. So, yeah. All right. So I think we're gonna call it there, Justin. Anything you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Just before we have the next show, Austin will have his birthday. So happy birthday, Austin.
Yes, happy early birthday for Austin. Celebrating in a week or so. And yeah, Happy birthday to Jack, celebrated a few days ago. I'm trying to think. Happy birthday to my cousin Matt, who gets to celebrate on 409 every year.
There we go.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Would love to hear your take on the tiers. Obviously, it's up for debate, and there's a few that Justin and I are flip-flopping and waffling on and could hear one way or the other, but would love to hear your feedback. So send us a text, an email, or comment on the show next week. There will be a show next week. We are planning on having it being this show, the Joe Mays and J-Raff show for episode 438. However, we have been discussing topics with a guest and having him come on, and he would like to be on the Bulldog Hour. So if he's able to join us, we will be switching things up and doing the Bulldog Hour, but I will not know that for a few more days. So there will be a show at 6, maybe around 6:30. The time could also change to accommodate the guest, but all that will be posted online on social media. But yeah, so there will be some form of show next Sunday and the Sunday after from us. And just stay tuned to social media for that. One last look at our quarterback tiers, and we will get out of here. All right. So thanks for listening, everyone, to this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, episode 437, now in the book. We'll be back again real soon. For Justin Raffoff, I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for listening while I pull up the charged iPad and get the outro music together.
Or at least some of it.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully that is available to us. And here we go. See you again real soon. There it is.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woo-hoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.